There is a $2 stone sitting in outdoor stores and antique shops right now. It sharpens any blade to a finer edge than any electric sharpener ever built. It does not grind away metal like diamond plates do. It does not leave a rough, serrated apex like ceramic rods do. It produces a mirror-polished cutting edge so refined that 19th century surgeons used it exclusively before every operation. American barbers used it for 150 years straight to keep straight razors sharp enough to shave a single hair in half. The U.S. Army issued it as standard field equipment in both World Wars. A single stone costs $2 and lasts a lifetime with zero maintenance. The $400 million knife sharpening industry replaced it not because anything better was invented, but because a $2 stone that outlasts its owner cannot be sold twice. And what cannot be sold twice cannot build a business. This is the complete story of the Arkansas whetstone, the sharpening tool that an entire industry buried under electric gadgets and diamond plates, and what it means for every dull blade sitting in your kitchen drawer right now. Welcome to the Blueprint Secrets. This is where we open the vaults that billion-dollar industries need permanently sealed. If this knowledge matters to you, subscribe and hit the bell right now. Every vault we crack open, you will be the first inside. Let me take you back to the Ouachita Mountains of central Arkansas, early 1800s. A frontier craftsman is working a piece of stone pulled from a local riverbed. The rock is unusually dense and fine-grained pale gray, almost translucent in thin sections. He runs a blade across it, and something unexpected happens. The edge that comes off that stone is sharper than anything he has produced with the sandstone and slate he has used his entire life. Word spreads the way practical knowledge always spreads in frontier communities through demonstration. Within decades, the stone has a name. They called it Arkansas stone. The geological name is novaculite from the Latin novacula, meaning razor, a microcrystalline form of quartz with a crystal grain size between 2 and 8 microns, smaller than almost any synthetic abrasive manufactured today. By the 1850s, Arkansas stone had become the sharpening standard across every precision trade in America. Surgeons at the major medical schools of Philadelphia and Boston specified it for surgical instruments because the edge geometry it produced reduced tissue tearing during incision. Barbers across the American South kept one beside every chair. Watchmakers and instrument makers used it for the finest edge work possible. The U.S. Army recognized it formally. Both World War I and World War II military field kit specifications included Arkansas honing stones as standard issue for soldiers maintaining tools and bayonets under field conditions with no access to grinding equipment. For over 150 years, a single stone from one mountain range in Arkansas was the undisputed sharpening standard of American professional life. Then the post-war consumer economy arrived, and with it the idea that tools should be sold, not inherited. Here is exactly what is happening at the microscopic level when a blade meets Arkansas stone and why no modern sharpening system can match it. Every cutting edge is, at the microscopic level, a wedge. The sharpness of that wedge determines how the blade performs. But sharpness alone is not enough. The apex of that wedge must be geometrically consistent and polished, not serrated, not heat damaged, not rolled. That is where every modern sharpening system fails, in a way most people never understand. Electric sharpeners spin at speeds that generate heat at the blade apex. That heat alters the temper of the steel, the molecular structure that allows hardened steel to hold an edge. An electric sharpened blade feels sharp immediately, but loses its edge unusually fast because the steel at the very tip has been softened. You cannot feel this with your fingers. Your blade feels it within the first 20 cuts. Diamond plates remove metal efficiently, too efficiently for final refinement. A diamond sharpened edge under magnification shows a serrated apex that catches on material rather than slicing cleanly through it. Arkansas novaculite operates on a different principle entirely. Its crystal grain size of 2 to 8 microns, confirmed in a 2009 study in the Journal of Materials Science, is finer than almost every synthetic abrasive in consumer sharpening products. The stone abrades metal slowly and consistently, generating no heat and removing the absolute minimum material needed to refine the edge. The temper of the steel is fully preserved. The apex is polished rather than serrated. Independent edge geometry testing by the American Bladesmith Society in 2014 compared Arkansas stone finishing against diamond plate and ceramic rod, finishing on identical blades. Arkansas stone produced the most geometrically consistent apex and the longest edge retention across every standardized cutting test. The $2 stone outperformed products costing 50 times more. That result was published in a specialist journal. It was not covered by any mainstream publication, with advertising revenue from sharpening equipment brands. Now look at what the sharpening industry has built and what it needs from you to keep building it. The global knife sharpening equipment market is valued at over $400 million per year. Electric sharpeners retail between $30 and $160. Diamond sharpening systems run $80 to $300. Ceramic rods sell for $20 to $60 and glaze over with metal particles within 2 to 3 years, requiring replacement. Pull-through sharpeners at $15 to $40 remove so much metal per use that they shorten blade life measurably and push you toward buying a replacement knife sooner. Every product in that market shares one requirement: it must need something from you again. An Arkansas whetstone needs nothing from you again, ever. You cannot patent novaculite. It formed in Ordovician seabed sediment 400 million years ago. You cannot trademark the edge geometry it produces. You cannot build a replacement cycle around a piece of stone that a craftsman buys once and passes to his children. The industry response was not to disprove Arkansas stone. It was to shift the conversation from performance to convenience. Electric sharpeners were marketed on speed. Diamond plates on simplicity, no oil required, no technique needed. The message was consistent. The old method is slow, complicated, and demands skill modern consumers should not have to develop. What the marketing never mentioned was that the old method produces a better result, that 15 minutes on an Arkansas stone produces an edge no 2-minute machine can match, that the skill, learned in a single afternoon, requires no electricity, no replacement parts, and no repurchase of anything for the rest of your life. That detail was not useful to anyone selling equipment, so it was simply left out. This knowledge never left the people who sharpen blades for a living rather than for a hobby, professional knife sharpeners. The craftsmen maintaining blades for restaurant kitchens, butcher shops, and surgical facilities use Arkansas stone for finish work on every blade, regardless of what electric equipment they use for initial metal removal. The grinder removes damaged material fast. The Arkansas stone produces the final edge that actually cuts. Ask any professional sharpener what stone sits on their finishing bench, and the answer is almost always the same gray piece of novaculite from the Ouachita Mountains. The surgical instrument community never fully abandoned it either. Veterinary surgeons and instrument technicians at major medical facilities still specify Arkansas stone for the final honing of scalpels, because the edge geometry it produces reduces tissue drag in ways that electric sharpened instruments measurably cannot. The same reason 19th century surgeons specified it has not changed. Only the marketing budget of the alternative has grown. In 2014, a bladesmith in North Carolina ran a direct comparison test between Arkansas, stone finishing, and 3 leading commercial sharpening systems on the same batch of kitchen knives. He documented the results with edge geometry photography and standardized paper cutting tests and posted his findings publicly. The Arkansas stone outperformed every commercial system on both edge sharpness and edge retention after 50 cuts. That post was shared thousands of times in craftsman communities. It was never referenced by any brand with a product to sell against it. If you have made it this far, you already know more about sharpening than 99% of people who own a knife. Subscribe and share this with someone still running blades through a pull-through sharpener that removes a millimeter of steel every use. Everything the sharpening industry buried is in the vault. The link is in the description. Stay with me, because what comes next is the part they need you to never actually use. Here is exactly what to do. And first, what this works on and what it requires. Arkansas stone works on any steel blade: kitchen knives, pocket knives, hunting knives, chisels, and straight razors. It works on both high carbon and stainless steel. It does not work on serrated edges. The one thing this method requires is a consistent sharpening angle holding the blade at the same angle across every stroke. 20 minutes of practice produces results no pull-through sharpener can match. Step 1. Buy an Arkansas whetstone. They are sold in 3 grades: soft Arkansas for dull or damaged edges, hard Arkansas for regular sharpening, and hard black Arkansas for final polishing to a razor edge. A combination stone with soft on one side and hard on the other covers every stage. Cost at any outdoor, sporting, or antique store: $2 to $15. A stone 6 inches long by 2 inches wide handles any kitchen knife. Step 2. Apply a thin film of honing oil to the stone before sharpening. Any light mineral oil works. Pharmaceutical mineral oil from any pharmacy is identical to branded honing oil at a fraction of the price. The oil floats, removes metal particles off the stone surface, and keeps the pores clear. Step 3. Hold the blade at 15 to 20 degrees against the stone. A simple guide. Place a matchbook under the spine of the blade while the edge rests on the stone. That is approximately the correct angle. Lock it in your wrist and maintain it through every stroke. Step 4. Draw the blade across the stone in a smooth arc from heel to tip, as if slicing a thin layer off the stone surface. Light, consistent pressure. The weight of the blade itself is nearly enough. 10 strokes per side on the soft Arkansas face for a dull blade, then 10 strokes per side on the hard Arkansas face. Step 5. Test by drawing the edge lightly across your thumbnail. A sharp edge catches and does not slide. When it catches consistently across the full length, strop the blade 3 times per side on a leather belt to align the apex. Done. Total cost, $2 to $15 once. Time per sharpening, 10 to 15 minutes. The The stone does not wear out. Clean it occasionally with warm soapy water and it will outlast every electric sharpener on your street. Frontier craftsmen pulled this stone from Arkansas riverbeds 200 years ago and built a sharpening standard that surgeons, soldiers, and barbers trusted for a century and a half. They had no electric motors or diamond plates. They had a piece of the earth with the right crystal structure and the patience to use it correctly. The Army put it in every soldier's field kit in 2 world wars because when a blade needs to work and there is no hardware store within 100 miles, you need something that requires nothing from the world to function. Just stone, oil, and the right angle. The sharpening industry looked at all of that history and replaced it with a product that plugs into the wall, removes too much metal too fast, and sells you a new blade sooner than the old one should have worn out. Not because it sharpens better, because it is faster to demonstrate on a shelf and easier to justify buying again. The $2 stone is still in outdoor stores and antique shops. It has been there the entire time sitting next to the hunting knives, waiting for someone who knows what they are picking up. Your kitchen knives know. Every blade run through a pull-through sharpener 50 times that still does not cut the way it did when new that blade needed the right stone and the right angle. Not more metal removed. Some knowledge does not die. It just ends up next to the hunting section. Today, you know which shelf to look on. If this vault opens something for you, subscribe and share it forward. Every share keeps open what the industry spent decades quietly closing. The next vault opens soon, and what is inside weighs even heavier.